Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Felicity here. Today I'm going to do a review on Mona Lisa Tarot published by La Scalabel. And here is the box. I'm trying to focus here. And the creator of this deck is Mark McElroy, and the artwork by Paolo Martinello. And yes, first I'm going to talk about what I like about this deck and the challenges of this deck, and then later I will talk about my favorite cards and how I interpret some of my favorite cards. And so Mona Lisa Tarot, actually what I like about this deck is it challenges us to look beyond gender, beyond the gender roles, because sometimes gender is just the external perspective of certain of the people. And for example, a soul chooses to reincarnate and experience life on earth using male or female body, and it doesn't really tell you much about whether this soul carries the female dominant energy or the male dominant energy. And so we have to look beyond the body that the soul chooses to experience life on earth. That means that we have to look beyond the gender roles, because sometimes society expects us to act in a certain way. If we choose reincarnate in female body, maybe they will think that, oh, okay, the society assumes that female should act in a certain way. For example, maybe female should be like water, is gentle, is submissive, is like doing those handmade work, or is very intuitive. And then society expects the soul that has the male body to be determined, to be assertive, to be dominant, or to be aggressive, and to be tough and not cry in front of the public. And this has great impact on people's life or on the people's character, because sometimes a soul that carries female dominant energy may choose a male body to experience life on earth. And so when this soul has the tendency of a female characteristic, the society may not have the open-minded to accept this person. And so for example, sometimes when people see the soul in a male body to carry the female energy, to do the female work, such as the housework, or dress in a certain way, dress like a lady, and the society cannot accept it, or society is shocked by this soul. And so it really limits us. It really limits the soul to progress in life, to move forward in life, to experience life to the fullest. And this deck really challenges us to look beyond gender role or gender, because the body is just a container of the soul, and sometimes the soul has the female energy as the dominant energy, but choose the male body to experience life. Sometimes the male dominant energy may choose the female body to experience life. So we really have to look beyond the gender. And so this deck is very suitable to read for different genders, whether it's a female or male or bisexual or cross-dresser or transsexual, so, or lesbian or gay. It doesn't matter. what matters is the message you can get from this deck. The reason why it challenges us to look beyond gender is because Mona Lisa is on the surface is a female character, but in this deck it's actually depicting a male, a soul in a male body, dressing like a lady, dressing with the Mona Lisa costume in order to help society. You can use this deck to read in a career reading or romantic reading or spiritual message, or asking for esoteric questions or spiritual questions. And it also help the soul connection. You know, you can actually use this deck to tap into the energy and to look at whether the two people have a soul connection, whether they are in a twin flame union, or they are in a soulmate relationship. You can use this deck in all areas of your life, not just focus on a career or romantic life. So it's very how do I say, flexible, and it doesn't really limit at a certain area. So now let's take a look at some of our favorite cards, shall we? Okay, here are some of my favorite cards. First, let's look at this card, and this is the Death card. And the reason why I said that Mona Lisa is played by a male dressing in a female clothing is because of this card. And we can see that here is the costume and the female long hair wig, and this male is preparing and wearing makeup here. And you know that Death card in tarot means transformation. Here physically this male is transforming himself into a lady, and it can means this is a cross-dresser, or this male would like to be a woman, or maybe later he will have a transsexual surgery. It can also mean that by experience the physical life on earth here, you know, wearing makeup, playing different role, from male to female, playing different role. And it can really mean that earthly life can really help us to spiritually progress into the next level. Life here is just like a training, the physically training of ourselves, so that we can obtain the spiritual knowledge and we will progress spiritually. So this is just like the transformation of the soul by experiencing the earthly life. And also it can mean that, you know, the person here, as we look into a mirror, we make up and we prepare ourselves, and we learn to accept the flaws, the physical flaws, and we learn to look at appreciate our strength as well. And another evidence, another thing I say that Mona Lisa here in this deck is played by a male is because actually we can look at here. You can see the facial structure, and you can see the forehead, the big forehead, and the cheeks, and the jawline is a bit strong. And that's why I say that Mona Lisa character here is played by a male. Actually, I cannot show it clearly in here, but if you have this deck, and you understand what I mean. The huge jawline and the cheek. And so another thing, you can see that Mona Lisa here is helping different classes, helping this child. This child actually he steals from this vendor, from this fruit owner here, and Mona Lisa is carrying a bag of coins and trying to pay for the fine for this boy. And maybe because she believes that education should be done, and as long as we do not use violence to punish people, we use education, we educate people in order for them to learn. Sometimes people steal, or sometimes people commit crime because they are lacking of the proper education when they are young. And Mona Lisa here is trying to help the priest, and actually in this deck, this priest is in exile because of the corruption of certain class, certain things, corruption in the society. And the priest, this is the real priest that got exiled and begging for money on the street, and Mona Lisa is helping him or giving him some value. And that means that Mona Lisa is valuing the spirituality aspect of life. Another thing is that yes, here we can see the gender role here, and it's a bit vague here. This soldier, this warrior dressing in armor, actually it can be a he or she, because you can see the facial expression is quite feminine, carries some feminine characteristic and structure. And so it once again challenges us whether we should focus on the gender that the soul is born into, or really focus on the ability of certain people instead of looking at the gender roles. You know, this person can be a male or can be a female. And sometimes, you know, when this card appear in a reading, sometimes it can mean that sometimes the people in a gay relationship, they are really worried about being judged by society, and being judged, and the society say that, oh, it's so gay to love another man, and it's not masculine enough to fall in love with another man. Male relationship, you know, gay relationship really gives them this kind of pressure. And so there is a suppressive element in it, because this person wearing armor is protective of himself or herself, and this person here under his feet is defeated. Maybe the person does not want to reveal the true self because he or she is worried being judged. And being judged by what? Being judged of the masculinity or femininity of the soul. And here another card, and this card is very interesting because it depicts a teenage boy or the young man having creating something, creating a sculpture. It's actually the story behind this card is Pygmalion in a Greek character. You know, Pygmalion is a Greek character that create a sculpture and later fall in love with his own creation. It can mean that the person actually is very narcissistic, you know, like a narcissistic, you know, is a narcissist, falling in love only with himself or herself. And there's the play called The Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw. It's also about the creation, an artist falling in love with his own creation. And so this person is actually falling in love with himself because he only likes what he creates. He is not paying attention to other people's character, and is a narcissistic. Yes, narcissistic. It can also mean that someone is thinking about having a transsexual surgery transforming himself from a male into a female, because here the tool is working on the sexual organ here, so it's eliminating the male sexual organ, transforming himself into a lady. This is a very interesting card. I really like it because there are a lot of layers to this card. And yes, if you have this deck, you have to find out what are the other interpretations. And Mona Lisa helping. You know, there's a corruption here. The authority, the real Pope has been get rid of by another Pope. That this Pope is corrupted and is not very welcomed by the people from other classes. And because it's very corrupted, it only cares about his own lifestyle, and it really talks about how power corrupts people. And it reminds us to really work for the light, always turn to the light and see through the ego and see through the dark side of life in order to prevent the temptation. You know, sometimes when we have power, when we have ability, we will abuse the power, abuse our ability to have a personal gain. So this deck always reminds us which path we should take and prevent the corruption. And so because this Pope is corrupted, the authority is corrupted, and someone is sent to put on some poison. And you know, another meaning of this card is this person is a catalyst, you know, putting some poison catalyst for the spiritual awakening of the person. It can mean that someone is with a false twin, or with an important soulmate or karmic soul relationship, in order to grow spiritually. Because you know, this Pope is you know, the dressing in the Pope clothing is sleeping. It means a spiritual sleeping. And this person, this lady here, putting poison is a catalyst to make this person who is sleeping awake spiritually. You know, the death brings a rebirth, is transformation. It means that the authority is stepping aside. It can mean that Saturn is in retrograde position. It can mean that you know, for letting down the power, forget about the power, and see through the power, see through ego in order to work. No, the death, the emotional death of the certain of the Pope. And so yeah, I hope that you enjoy my review here. This is the back of the card, and it seems that it's really convenient for those who do not read reverse. But if you read reverse, you have to find a way to work with this deck, because it's not very convenient for the reversal reading. So I hope that you enjoyed this review, and see you in the next video. Bye.